and welcome to this week's video. These are the videos where I try and give you an idea of what it's like to be a professional musician working in the UK. I'll show you some of my gigs I've been doing and some of the technical nerdery required and guitar fiddling, etc. Coming up in this week's video, is this the start of my one-man band career? I unearth some what look like Iron Age relics, and I attempt to play up the dusty end of my acoustic guitar. If you'd seen last week's video, you'd have seen me talking about this guitar. Now, this was my first ever Fender Stratocaster that I bought in about 1988, I think. And Roger Kelly, who taught me when I was about 13, he refretted it for me, and he's done the most amazing job on it. It's like having a new guitar. I'm really enjoying it. I was previously looking at some custom shop ones because I wanted a rosewood fingerboard guitar, because my one here is a maple fingerboard, and my other rosewood one is the James Tyler one, which is slightly different because it's got the humbucker and it's hollow, etc. So I was after a sort of standard Strat with a rosewood fingerboard. I'm really enjoying this guitar, and I'm just going to play you a little bit through my pedal steel mini. This is my new amp, which I've talked about in the last couple of videos as well, so just so you can hear what it sounds like through the amp. Like the front pickup sound of it. Oh, it's gone out of tune. So there we go, that's the sound of this guitar, and I'm really pleased with it. I've done actually a bit of tinkering with it this week, and I'm not really a tinkerer. I don't like to do these kind of things and get involved in DIY situations. I tend to get people who know what they're doing to do it. But these were pretty simple things that I've done. Now, the first thing, you can see in these photos, I took the scratch plate screws out, and they look like they've been unearthed from some kind of Iron Age archaeological dig. You know, when you see those pictures of things that are basically just all rust, but they can kind of work out what they were originally used for. Well, that's kind of what these look like. So I ordered it from Charles Guitar in the UK. I ordered some bits, and I got a set of this scratch plate screws. I don't know if you can see here. I also, and I'll show you, this is what the strap knobs looked like before. If you saw my video last week, you'd have seen me dropping this guitar. So I bought a set of the standard type of more triangular looking ones that don't drop the guitar off when you move around. And most importantly, I've replaced the block that screws under the bridge and attaches to the springs, because I like to use a tremolo arm. I have it floating, and I've done the same on this guitar, my custom shop one. All Fender ones, when you plug in the tremolo arm, you get loads of play in it unless you tighten it right up. And I don't like to have it tightened right up, because it normally tightens right up there. You pull it round and it's still got a load of play in it, and as you move it backwards and forwards, it kind of goes. If you buy the Callahan block and this virtual pop-in arm, then you don't get any play at all. It's much nicer to use. So there we are, I replaced all those bits. Unfortunately, what I did discover though when I took the guitar apart, I'll show you this photo, that the crack, I don't know if you can see it here, the crack that I discovered after I dropped the guitar, if you look at this photo, it's actually gone all the way through. So watch this space. I'm going to try and remedy that with a bit of thin glue, I think. But if anyone else knows how to sort that problem out, perhaps you could let me know in the comments. So before we get to the first gig, I just want to mention again that I've got an album coming out on the 28th of October. It's called Halfway to Somewhere. Here's the cover. I'm just waiting on the delivery of the CDs, and it should be online on the 28th. But if you want to go and have a look at my website and sign up and follow me on Spotify, etc., so you know when it comes out, then please do. If you look at my website, it's easy for me to say, is iamtjwalker.com. So on to the first clip, playing this guitar through this amp using my standard pedal board. It's the first song of the night, so I'm still slightly fiddling around with my pedals during it, but I think it's a good tone, so have a listen to this. This next clip is with a band that I showed myself playing with a couple of weeks ago called the Vincents, and it starts off on acoustic normally, so it's bass, double bass and drums, and playing acoustic guitar. Now, I made a big long list of all the stuff I need to take with me to this gig, which I always do, especially when I've got lots of stuff to take. And despite making the list, I managed to forget my little PA speaker which I was playing the acoustic guitar through. I showed you this preset. If you look back a couple of weeks on my videos, I did a clever Quad Cortex preset where I had the acoustic guitar going in one input through all the acoustic guitar processing, then out of one output, and then the electric guitar going into the other input with all the effects processing I wanted for that, and then coming out and going into my guitar amp, which is what I intended to do, but I forgot the speaker. And I realised when I was halfway there and I'd already got stuck in traffic. So I had little choice but to plug the acoustic guitar through the Milkman, but it actually sounded quite good, as you'll hear from this clip. What I did, if you've got my preset that I think that I made available online, is instead of having the impulse response in parallel to the signal path, I put it in the signal path, so I got much more acoustic guitar sound going straight through, and it went into here, and it didn't sound too bad considering. Good enough really. The main sound was coming out the PA, this was just a bit of reinforcement so I could hear it, but it wasn't a bad sound. So anyway, have a listen to this, see what you think. Then I moved on to the Gretsch. Again, this is through the Quad Cortex. I'm using the tape echo block, the mono one, going through that into the Milkman amp. So see what you think of this sound. And then halfway through one of the sets, Ivan the drummer was desperate for the loo, so he had to jump up and go, and we were lacking a bit of percussion, so I started off playing on the hi-hat, and then of course I couldn't resist it. I sat down on the drums and attempted to play the bass drum and hi-hat at the same time whilst playing the guitar, which was less successful, requires some practice, but maybe it's the start of my one-man band career. Next gig with an Elvis tribute. Standard setup here, I was using my Milkman amp. First set's a 50 set, I was using my Gretsch through my standard pedal board. So here we are, this is what that sounds like. And then for the second set we do the Vegas set, so I switch on to my Telecaster, my Paisley Telecaster, the reissue of the James Burton style one. The last gig I'm going to show you is an acoustic guitar gig, solo acoustic guitar gig. I'm using the little Mackie column PA, I can't remember the model of it, but I've shown that in a video a few weeks ago. Go and check that out. This is a brilliant little system for doing solo acoustic guitar gigs. It's not that loud, but for most situations, this was quite a big pub, and I was actually someone came over and went, the volume's perfect over here. That doesn't often happen, does it? But I'm using the Quad Cortex. I'm using the hybrid mode, which I've done a video on, where I'm controlling the Quad Cortex, using it as a MIDI controller to control itself, which enables me to do looping and scene switches and kick in some blocks all at the same time. So I've got that video, I'll link to it here. So this first video is just a solo, just so you can hear what the acoustic sounds like through that system and the Quad Cortex. Videos here of me attempting to play up the dusty end of my acoustic guitar. Now, I don't have an acoustic guitar with a cutaway. I don't really like the look of them actually, but I really ought to get one, because I've made the mistake of posting myself playing these songs that require playing up the dusty end, and of course I keep getting asked for them when I do gigs. So here's a couple of attempts playing up the dusty end, a couple of standard classics which hopefully you'll recognise from the guitar solos. Let me know in the comments if you do. Much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm bringing out new videos on Fridays at 7 PM UK time every week. I'm going to leave you with this solo from the first gig again I showed you, just so you can hear this guitar again, because I'm really enjoying this guitar. I think this is pretty much clean. I don't think I've got any effects on this. Straight into the Milkman Amp. So hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you next week.